Alright, anyways, now that we have finally like finished up the venue to track, at least though, and the events track, if you basically have noticed, like later in the scene basically from like part 9, now the very last thing you need to do is to separate these difficulty settings. Since we charted like expert only, you really like might want to go for filling in the reduced difficulties before you start building your song, so then it's not expert only. So what I basically did here is, the first thing I do in order to separate, well actually no, in order to fill in those lower difficulties, the first thing you need to do is, it's really easy to export the MIDI that you've made, which is that's the entire MIDI basically that you're using. So yeah, all these tracks basically all around, yeah, that's considered being a MIDI basically that you're using for Rock Band. So here's how you export it. Go to File and click Export Project MIDI. And one thing to basically keep in mind, make sure that you like set the export to set the output for exporting to the MIDI file to be in a specific folder. Like for example, I have mine set to that's not what I wanted. I would recommend sending the MIDI exporting to be in your to go into your converting folder. It says Rock Band 2 converting. You might not be able to see it, but that's basically what it says right there. So anyways, put this basically in your Rock Band to in your Rock Band converting folder, and then once that is set up, make sure to have this enabled. Make sure that you enable embed project tempo / time signature changes, because if it's not like, and because then if it's not at all, then all that it'll really just do is it'll just only export the MIDI with only one tempo marker, and you really want to embed the project tempo map to be including all of the tempo markers that you set it on, like from like back in part 3. So in order to really keep those tempo markers, to make sure it's in sync, that's the most recommended thing to do. Make sure you check off embed project tempo / time signature changes. So make sure to configure the export project MIDI window to match the settings there, and then click OK, and it will say wrote 7 tracks of the MIDI to the folder that you set it to. And then when you go into your Rock Band 2 converting folder, if it would show up, let me just minimize that. Now you can basically see here so now you can basically see, let me get closer over here. So basically this is basically the MIDI that you've made, which basically has the has like that music note, and then it basically has like, and it has like the video clip combined to it. Yeah, then yeah, that's absolutely like what it is though. So you can see here is that it's a MIDI sequence, and that's the one that is basically the one that you're gonna want to use to make your custom. Now once you've done that, next thing to do is go into this Onyx program, which again I have already like show you the download link for this program. So check back in the first tutorial. No, the first part of the tutorial to download this. Well, to find the link that would take you to the page to download this program. So this is the Onyx console program, and what this thing basically does is, you can see here, it is an Onyx music game toolkit. Select an option below to get started. So you have batch process and you have other tools. So the first thing that you might want to do first, once you get into here, is click other tools. and then it'll take you to take you to the other tools that are basically available. There are MIDI sections, Moog creators, lip sync plus DriveVox, dot Milo functions, and the black venue. And there's also tasks as well, though, and you can only basically see that once you have performed it, once you basically have like set up the task from using any of these tools on the Onyx program. In the MIDI functions, you can find fill in, lower difficulties, and drum animations, and that's mostly like the reason why I would say don't really chart the drum animations yet, because this is the better option you can get. That since that it will basically fill in the drum animations for you, matching those notes. So click this so make sure to click this folder icon, or the folder button, and then find the MIDI file that you need to fill in the lower difficulties and the drum animations with, and then click that button once the MIDI file's in, and then make sure to save that as reduced, so then you'll know which one you're using. Now if you do basically get warnings but basically like this though, then don't really worry too much basically about it. I mean, it's pretty easy to fix though. Okay, so it basically said that there's an unrecognized text event basically in the events track. So that's why in order to keep track of that, make sure to basically like find that. Okay, so first of all, make sure that music end basically is at the basically what at the point where the song stops playing, basically like 130 to 132.1, and then make sure to put the end text event to be like at the edge of the MIDI. And and the way that I like to basically do this is I like to basically set the end text event to be at right here. So it means whenever music end, it's basically like pass through basically on during the song though. That is when the crowd will like start cheering though for finishing the song or passing it. And then in the end text event basically has to be at the very edge. So it means whenever it passes through the end text event, basically, then it basically should just end the song like urgently, like for real though. So yeah, it will basically end the song like that early, which will basically mean it'll basically make all of the other instrument tracks basically disappear basically once the song's done, and then it'll basically show them like it'll basically like show like the musicians basically just cheering for themselves passing the song, and then that's when it goes into your progress screen to show how you did. So remember, so the thing is, make sure that music end is absolutely to the point where the song stops playing, and then, well, it's going to end playing, and in order to really avoid being stuck on the fret, on either the fretboard or the drum board, basically like, or even the vocal board, basically like really quick, basically though, then basically though, make sure that it does basically end at least like one measure later. At when the music ends, the text event is like at a point though. But if that's not the way you want to do it, like if there's like a slow ending basically though, or a really slow outro, but then you can basically just move music end to be at somewhere else basically though, like 130. Like let's say if the music stops playing at 130 basically though, and if you have the end text event there, that means it'll basically just take from going from there to there in order to end the song. But anyways, for now, we're just gonna like put it right there. Now you could basically also see at the beginning is that music start is basically supposed to be like right there, or it won't work. And the crowd to text event that you basically see here is on crowd intent. Basically how the crowd acts. It acts really hard, and then like crowd mellow. Basically, it makes them like jam to your music slowly. So I would just recommend keeping it as it is, basically though. Like basically though, unless that if there is basically an instrument that in it, unless that if one instrument basically just starts like later than the measure 3 though, then it's basically okay to remove it. And you could basically just have your crowd basically doing that, do the crowd basically doing that to the custom song whenever like when a musician basically plays the first note that exists in the song. Like that's basically how it's supposed to be. Okay. All right, so I think we're good. Wait, so now to fix this though, just go ahead and just like re-export the MIDI, and then do this again, fill in the lower difficulties, which would mean replace this. And now on the second attempt, now it should absolutely like there should be like no errors whatsoever. Now that we fixed it, so, yeah. I don't know why I didn't even look over it. Anyway, there's our reduced MIDI, and I'll basically show you what it looks like in Reaper. So go back to that, and it's recommended to open up a new project tab, and then go to the Rock Band Network blank template. So then you can basically drag in the MIDI that you've made. Basically, I mean you don't have to basically open up this template to put it in. Like you can basically just you could just click new project. And even if you don't have a template opened up, then that's basically fine. Like you can still just drag it in basically, but you may have to basically keep in mind is that some of the note rows might be missing completely, and it might get confusing basically. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. But if you don't want to use the Rock Band Network template to do it, then that's basically fine though. But I would just recommend doing that just so then you would still be able to see the correct note rows. So don't worry basically though. The Rock Band Network template absolutely does come in with the RBN plugins and to basically do it, and the custom tools basically though. Or actually, I think that the custom tools, the .zip file that you download from the C3 website is basically like that's basically where you can find it. So yeah, once you basically have downloaded that file, it'll still have the Rock Band Network template, basically though for you to put right into your computer. Even any of the other ones as well though. So yeah, so you just have to make sure to just remember that whenever you're like doing this. That's the point though. So anyways, once you have your Rock Band Network blank template open, or even if you decide to not open one at all, then go ahead and drag it in, and then so basically this line basically that you see like right here though, make sure that it's at the very beginning of the project, and then once you see this, basically if you don't have any of these basically checked off though, make sure that both of these are like absolutely checked off, so then it'll like import it in there correctly. So you can basically see here is that this was basically like the tempo map, basically that has been made. So you can see is that the tempo map has the blue lines basically showing. So it means whenever the line goes down, that means that it is slow, and if it goes up, that means that it's a faster BPM. So even when you go through later in the song, like right here, for example, like going right here, and then just basically just going that far. Anyways, so now you might have not noticed is that some of these minis are, some of these tracks are in the wrong place. So I would just like switch them over basically. But so I mean if it's not really like moved in like the wrong places for you basically, then like that's basically that's honestly fine though. You could still leave it as it is. But as for like, but in case that if you do get this problem basically though, then just make sure to like read the track names to what they are and what they're supposed to match, and then like make sure that you basically like move them to be in the correct spot. So now, so we're gonna start with reducing the guitar first. So first thing first, I'm gonna like hide the unused and unnamed note rows, so then you won't see these three. So now as you can see, now that it has made the reduced MIDI basically though, it has now filled in the lower difficulties, except that it didn't actually do it right. So the way to basically fix that is basically by what is it? The way to basically fix this is basically I'm gonna actually like delete this for delete it. Hold on. Trying to find the, okay, there we go. All right, now first of all, I'm gonna basically like first of all delete these force HOPO off and on markers basically, because we don't really need them like that much for filling in the reduced difficulties. Now what you're gonna, so the way that you're supposed to basically set up medium and easy basically is make sure there's only one orange note on medium, and then make sure that there's only one orange and one blue on easy. So the way to move these basically though, so basically just make sure that you basically go for selecting the higher note rows, and then make sure that you move them down a bit. You can basically like move all those down, and then find a reasonable orange note or reasonable blue note for you to like drag up to make it an orange note. It looks like that like this one is like not good enough to use, so let's do that one. And then for easy, make sure that there's a lot of greens, reds, and yellows, and make sure that there's only like, make sure that there is just only at least like one orange and one blue for easy. So just do that. So I'm gonna do it like that basically though. And what I'm gonna do is that yellow note, I'm gonna basically like let me actually sorry, I'm just like messing some stuff up. Alright, so anyways, I'm gonna like just click this and then drag this, and then basically move that down to be a smaller chords, and then it'll make it easier to play on medium. Alright, now the next thing to do is once you've had basically have like moved some of these rows down, then the next thing to do is to copy these and then go back into this into the project well, go back to the MIDI that you're using for Rock Band, and then go into that guitar track, and then just paste it. And now you can basically see is that, so now that we've pasted those notes in, you can basically like now tell is that now all the lower difficulties are filled in. But to be honest with you, I'm not gonna basically, we're not gonna basically like leave it as it is, basically, because there are some changes that you might have to make that you might have to make, right? But basically though, whenever you're basically like charting guitar. Give me a minute. Alright, so anyway, now what is also recommended to basically do while you're basically editing the lower difficulties, it is to basically like have the Rock Band Network preview opened up, and then basically like make sure that you basically have the make sure that you basically like find out how the difficulties are basically supposed to be set up, because from like the lower difficulties by going to skill. Let me save this first. By going to the skill tab option, and then just like select these. So basically you can basically just click these, and then it'll like just switch to like each difficulty back and forth. Like you can go up to, so like there's like easy difficulty, there's medium, there's hard, and there's expert. So easy is basically the slowest, like this. Medium is this slow, hard is this fast, and expert is like faster than is scrolling a little faster than hard. So now when you basically play this, I'm gonna play this. Hold on, let me turn this up a bit. So you can basically see here, these are basically what the expert chords basically look like. Just hold on for a minute. Okay. So you can basically see here, these are basically what the expert chords are like. But since the hard difficulty kind of looks the same, basically though, what I'm gonna do instead is I'm just gonna remove a few of the notes. You can basically just either select them just by like holding the right click basically though, and then make sure the select box is on those notes, and then just hit the delete key to get rid of them. I mean, that's basically up to you. So you can see here is that when I'm like basically doing here is I'm basically like looking like all over the entire like note grid basically of this pattern, and you can basically see like how I'm basically setting it up to make it easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and just shrink this down a bit, so then we can only see the mini rows only for like for hard, medium, and easy. So you can basically see is that this is basically what expert normally looks like on guitar, but if you change this to hard, this is what it will look like. So you can basically see here is that there are a few small gaps in it, and I did just change the orange and blue chord to be at least an orange note, so then it'll make it easier to play. So in case that if you really need like more info, basically, there is a Rock Band documentary that will basically like show you basically how you're supposed to fill in the lower difficulties. By the way, what you're seeing right here, these are basically the animation markers you can use. Play with just the standard singing state, well, this is for vocals though, but you can still do the same basically though for every other instrument. So yeah, you can absolutely put the same animation markers on other instruments and not just vocals all the time. Intense, which is used for hard, fast sections of a song, and mellow is used for slow, quiet sections of a song. Idle is the character has their microphone down and then dances to the beat. And idle real time is the character has their microphone down and is not synced to the beat. Use this for intos and ends of songs, or anywhere else you don't want your singer bopping to the beat. So it means it'll basically just like stand there, just normally, just like not like dancing along. All right, so anyways, let's basically go for like this now. So in case that if you do need, when you're on this website, docs.c3universe.com, then you can basically like then you could basically just like look for then you could basically like at least just look for the page that'll basically like show you basically how you are supposed to like chart the lower difficulties. So you can basically see here is that you can absolutely do this. So guitar, bass authoring, and the drums authoring will absolutely show you like how you're basically like how like you're basically supposed to do this. So yeah, it'll show you examples like right here on like how on like what type of good chords that you could set up. So basically, so you can see here, experts should represent the actual guitar part as accurately as possible, barring general sloppiness as mentioned before, trying to represent each subtle variations in the guitar part, like for sure though. And then here is how hard works. Hard gems are the mini notes 84 to 88. I'll basically like so you can see here is that yeah, so basically 88, 87, 86, 85, and 84 are basically the hard notes. And the way and the how you're basically supposed to be charting hard difficulty is on the guitar or bass is right here. Hard should be the reasonable version of expert. It should be possible for an expert player to 100% hard with only a minimal amount of practice. Try taking out subtle variations so the parts are more consistent. Removing motion or strumming that is a 16th note or faster is a good place to start. But again, this is based on the tempo of the song. So it means instead of doing this like on expert, you want to go for something like this basically, which is a little slower. So the thing is, so yeah, maybe like try to like at least put in some expert notes basically, but make sure that you at least just like leave out like some small gaps, so then it'll make it easier for you. But of course, if you're basically working on a guitar that you would want it to be on like the impossible tier, basically then you could probably like maybe do chords like this, basically where it's just you know, like that's basically an example of how you could basically set up hard difficulty, but basically for guitar and bass, like no matter what. And then the way medium is basically supposed to be set up right here. So you can see here, medium are the mini notes 72 to 75, which is these rows right here. And this time medium and easy do not have rows for the HOPO on or off notes. So that's out. So those two are basically out of those lower difficulties, just because medium is supposed to be easier than hard, right? and easy supposed to be like supposed to basically be like the lowest skill of all, like for sure. So you can see here what it says right here. Medium is probably the hardest difficulty level to author, and yet one of the most important, most casual players start on medium. So the key to medium is retaining as much of the rhythmic and melodic feel of expert and hard, but in a way that is much easier to play. So that's what medium guitar is. And the way you're supposed to do that is removing the remaining eighth notes from medium is a good way to thin out from hard. Try to only have playable notes on strong quarter note beats, which means we switch to medium. This is basically how it's supposed to be set up. Make sure that it is on the stronger beat lines, basically. So it means if you see like beat lines that are basically like this, and then like make sure that they are like not the beat lines that are basically thinner, and make sure to only put medium notes, but basically that kind of match basically only on like on the thicker lines. So that means that on like the since it means the only time that you can only put in medium notes for the thin lines is it's like make sure that you basically that it's at least like make sure that it is like at least further than 1/8 of a note. Now like, so let's say for example let's say that there is no note here, right? And so the way that you can set it up, for example, is basically by doing this. So then it'll still make it easier to play, and it'll absolutely like make people be like impressed for like the way you charted that. But then if that's not basically the case, like if you do basically see notes that are in the 1/16th note range, basically though, then that basically means that then it's basically just fine to just like put those notes to be in a 1/8 note range. Now you want to do now the thing you might want to avoid doing this is avoid quick 3 or 4 note jumps. So just such as green to blue or orange or red to orange jumps. And chords are still allowed on medium, but try to avoid fast chord changes. So that's mostly the point though. You absolutely cannot just put in, you really just cannot like try to basically just put in like really fast chords just basically though, just because like that's not really how you really chart the guitar at medium though. So it means if you do stuff like this basically though, don't do that because then that'll make it brutal basically for me, and people will, and then any casual players are just not gonna like that ever. So that's mostly the point though, for sure though. Like, don't really be doing stuff like that. And also don't try to also like do notes like this as well, because then if you're doing the fast tempo, because then it'll make it harder to hit for casual players. So yeah, so all chords in hard should be retained in medium unless special circumstances prevent that making sense, such as chords being used to represent harmonizing guitar parts or strong harmonics. So you can basically see here. Medium level players will typically find it difficult to shift their hands from their first 4 buttons. So taking care to find places to add orange gems that are appropriate using the following priorities. First, a single gem during a unique section of the song. This could basically be for a bass or guitar slide, the bridge of the song in an intro or outro section, and during a guitar solo, or the big final note of a solo or outro, or some other event that happens once in the song, like for sure. And there's also like one reason why I basically say it's recommended to have one orange note on medium, and then make sure you have one orange and one blue on easy, basically though, all times. Just because for some reason though, Rock Band 2 Customs is really always demanding you to always to really always put those, to basically put in at least one orange note on medium, and then at least like one orange and one blue on easy, to match expert. Like believe me, it's like, believe me though, like that's not basically how, like that's not how like, believe me, I did not absolutely did choose to absolutely do that. Like that's really absolutely Rock Band 222's problem. So if you're basically only making customs basically just for Rock Band 3, and if you're basically doing the same thing on the RB3 template, and if you're not gonna really like play those songs and play like custom songs on Rock Band 2, then you should be okay. And completely though, unlike leaving out orange notes for medium and then leaving out orange and blue notes for easy, because it absolutely can work, but basically for that, for Rock Band 3 basically, but you do have to basically understand is that if you're gonna play customs on Rock Band 2, or if you're gonna play customs basically on like Lego Rock Band, but basically then try to at least make sure to have one orange note on medium, and make sure there's one orange and one blue on easy, so then it'll still register in the game. So yeah, if you do see at least a single orange note or a single blue note on a medium that you are like not expecting though, don't really call it wrong, okay? Like trust me, it is not absolutely my problem. Like trust me, it's not absolutely my problem. It's Rock Band 2's problem, and like Lego Rock Band's problem as well. Like for sure, don't take it super seriously, okay? Like that's just basically how it was supposed to be like that. So right here, since you cannot use the same chords in medium, the structure of your chord progression is going to need to be adjusted accordingly. So, according to this image right here. So that basically means is that if you basically see chords basically that are like this, basically, then you really are gonna have to basically like try to basically like come up with a solution, trying to figure out like how it's supposed to go. Like right here, since you cannot use the same chords in medium, hang on a minute, something in my eye, sorry. All right, since you cannot use the same, my god, man, like I don't know why, like there's just hair pieces just landing on my face, just landing on my face for some reason. Anyway, since you cannot use the same chords in medium, the structure of your chord progression is going to need to be adjusted accordingly. Sorry. Try starting by moving every chord in the song down one position, like I showed you. For instance, a yellow and blue chord would become a red and blue chord. Well, that's not really true though. I would mostly say the yellow and blue chord basically would be a single yellow note. Like, to be honest with you. And then a red and blue chord would become a red and yellow chord, which is basically one fret shorter than that. And so if your song that doesn't have too many chords, then this may take care of all of your problems. And the way you're supposed to set up single notes on medium is that they also have to be like one. They also basically have to basically be like 1/8 notes as well. So it means if you see a pattern like this, like orange, blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow, red, green, then the way you're supposed to set up that pattern on medium is blue, yellow, orange, and green. So it means, so yeah, orange, blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow, red, green, and if you remove every other 8th gem, you are left with with orange, yellow, blue, red. You should then readjust these gems so that the quarter gem pattern would be blue, yellow, red, green. So it means if it's in like this order, then try like moving them down one row. And for stuff like this, don't just make sure that you're doing the same thing. When reducing triplet patterns in Mia, it's best to only keep the downbeat of the triplet. And then lastly, easy difficulty. You could see easy should be really easy. So then no player will complain that easy is too easy. They'll just move up to medium. So make it easy. You know, that's basically how it's supposed to be. The easy player should be able to look at the track, see the note, and look at their guitar neck, move their finger to the right button, strum, and then look back up for the next note. And that's basically a lot to do between every note. So make sure you leave a significant amount of space for that. So it means on easy, removing all remaining quarter notes when possible. So it means it's good to really practice. It's good for practice to leave have note spaces between strums for easy players. So it means this is how it's supposed to be set up. So it's going to be at point 1, point 3, point 1, point 3. That's basically like the most normal way you can chart notes, but basically on easy But the way that you're supposed to be doing that is that now instead of doing 1/8 notes, but now instead of doing notes like this basically, then it's either recommended to do 1/4 or 1/2, completely though, of the grid basically though. On easy, so substains should be pulled back by an additional 1/16 from their length on medium, leaving at least a 1/4 note gap between the end of a sustain and the beginning of the next note. Please keep in mind that if this could cause substains to appear too short and stumpy, they should be pulled all the way back to a single strum. And the most important rule for easy guitar, there are no chords on easy except that if you're doing like a really difficult song, and so the way that you're supposed to chart really difficult guitar on easy basically is make sure that there are at least really small good chords for them to play basically. So to hit basically, and then they'll realize like that's basically how easy difficulty on the impossible tier is supposed to be hit though. So yeah, it's like, so yeah, only do that if you're basically like working on the song that is in the impossible tier. But as for the nightmare tier or for the nightmare tier or lower, then that basically just that will basically just mean that that you probably might need to just like try and to just really like go for like just putting single notes in, and at least single long notes as well. Like that's basically like the only way you can only like get easy correct, no matter depending on which tier that the guitar is set to. So yeah, any tier that is going in the order from warm up to nightmare, make sure that there are only single notes on easy. And then if you're doing the impossible tier song, then just make sure that you are basically just doing the at least chords on that. So then that'll basically like make it look like easy, impossible tiered on easy difficulty, you know. And the easy tips and tricks, easy players will typically find it difficult to shift their hands from the first 3 buttons. So take care to find places to add orange and blue gems that are appropriate. And then using the same priorities as medium, but restricting any patterns you add including orange, to the top 3 colors, yellow, blue, orange, in order to keep the player's hand movements to a minimum. So that's mostly the point though. So the way you're supposed to set up easy is like this. Make sure that it is absolutely like easy for them to play, and yeah, make sure that you do that. So then you absolutely don't have like anyone that is basically like new at guitar basically just get confused to like what they're doing. Like for sure though. So the way medium is supposed to be played on guitar is like this. Like it's supposed to be that slow, you know? You know? Like that's basically how medium's supposed to be played. And then easy is supposed to be like set like this. You know? So the thing is, that's really mostly the point though. You really want to try to go for that, because then when you do that, it'll like make things much easier for you to basically do. And it's and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's mostly absolutely recommended that you really chart the lower difficulties as well if you're doing a custom song note. So that's mostly the most important rule for charting guitar, drums, or bass. Do not leave out the hard difficulties being empty. Like mostly, I'm just saying no. Do not leave the lower difficulties empty because that is lazy work. You really don't want that. And like basically, like if you want to make like a perfect rock band song, or if you want to make like a perfect rock band custom song though, that's mostly the point though. Try to absolutely like make it feel like it's a rock band song that you played before, like for sure. Like for sure though, like I said, do not really like do that. Do not absolutely like leave out hard. Do not leave out medium. Do not leave out easy. Like for sure though, and basically though, like don't even like be like doing like expert only as well though. So it's only recommended to just only like do this, but basically for yourself, and not make sure that you don't share that with anyone else, because they will not. Because sometimes there are other people out there that will sometimes like not really appreciate with you doing that. So anyway, now that I have like gotten the basics down of like how you're supposed to reduce the difficulties, I'll show you a little more of it, so then you'll basically see what I mean basically. And then I'll get back to you, and then basically I show you how I charted the lower difficulties for guitar. But I gotta turn this back to hard. There you go. So yeah, you could basically see is that is just too fast. So the way to fix that is it's easy to figure out. Just remove some notes. And then remove like maybe like parts of the notes just to make things easier. And the way to set up medium is make sure if you see any chords that are like this wide, then make chords that are smaller. And if you see small chords on hard, basically though, that are there, like the kind of matching expert, then turn those into single notes. That's how I would do it. And if you see an orange note on hard, make that a blue note. And then the blue notes on medium have to be yellow on easy. So then if you basically see a chord that's like that is like starting at red, but like if the first like if the lower note on the chord is red, make sure that the note is red as well. And then if the lower note on a chord is green, like this one, then turn that to a green note. And then if you basically see like a chord that is basically like this though, and then if you see a chord like this on medium basically though, then make sure that the note is like at least yellow. Or if there is basically an orange note there, then to make sure you do yellow as well for that. For blue, do yellow, make that a yellow note on medium, and then make that a red note on easy. Except that I kind of wouldn't actually do that actually. the way I would recommend setting up the yellow for easy is only if it's like either a blue or an orange note on like hard or medium. So for yellow, just put that basically just put the turn that yellow note into a red one for easy. Like if you see like a yellow note that's basically like this, in the way if you wanted to set that up for easy, then just put a red note there, so then it'll look like it's an easy note that is matching like the one from the expert notes. Also, if you do see any 3-note chords, basically then the way that you're supposed to reduce those 3-note chords is remove the middle note that is inside of the chord, and then just make that a 2-note chord that can just be easy to play. You know, like that's basically the way to do it. So I'll show you an example. Let's say that if you if there is a chord like this on expert, then the way to make that easier for hard is remove the middle note. So it means if you have the same for red, yellow, and blue from expert, you do the same thing here. Remove the yellow note, or if you get a pattern, if you get a chord like this on expert, then for the hard chord should be like this. And then and let's say that you have a chord like this as well, like a really wide one. Basically, just just make sure to like remove the note that is inside the chord. Remove the blue, and then now it is basically a 2-note chord that is 2 frets wide. And what if you have a chord like this? Well, I guess it's also the same. Just remove the yellow note, and then it'll turn into a chord like into just a 2-note chord that's wide like that. So yeah, simple to figure out. I'll also show you like later in the song as well. So let's go to like measure 93. Yeah, 93. So you could sometimes normally see is that this is sometimes how that they would usually set up hard, basically for like faster BPMs, but for faster BPM songs. But the way that I like to basically do this is make sure that you put an HOPO marker over it, so then it'll make it easier to play. So since that blue, orange, blue to red is basically just really far to hit, basically though, like I mean a lot of hard players are not gonna like hit it like that easily. So it's recommended to just push that down a bit, so then it'll make it much easier. Let's say that you get to like right here later in the song. So if you do see two notes that are like this, basically make sure that the previous note that is the same like color as the second note make sure that the force HOPO on markers are like not really are not like over both of them, because then it'll just basically just start to turn into just like only like single frets that you tap instead, and you don't want that. And plus guitars basically plus guitars also like don't even do that either, like for sure though. Like real guitars do not do that. Like whenever they like, let's say they like hit the red, and then they have to like tap blue, and then for the next blue they have to like strum that blue in order to keep the streak going. So that means for blue, orange, you have to do the same thing as well. Make sure that an HOPO on marker is like right is over that middle note from the orange and red pattern, for example, in order to make that easier to play on hard. Now I'm gonna also make this easier just by doing this. To actually make it look like that it could basically be like a solo that you could hit, though, I'm gonna like just hold on. I'm gonna basically extend this note row to be like this. So I'll show you that really quick. So the way I would also like recommend setting up a pattern like this is just put all orange notes there, so then make it easier for you to do. For this, you could do it like this. Alright, so I'll do this then, just to make it easier for hard difficulty. There we go. So yeah, definitely easy to figure out, basically though. So once you basically have like followed basically like all these rules that I basically showed you on this Rock Band document here, basically they'll basically like, to teach you how to basically like how you're basically supposed to like chart but on the difficulties, how you're supposed to chart hard, how you're supposed to chart medium, how you're supposed to chart easy on like guitar and bass, basically. So make sure to basically check those out if you really like need help figuring that out. Anyways, so reducing all the difficulties is pretty much going to take a while. So I'll see you in a bit once I get this done. All right. So after spending a while later, I finished like setting up hard, medium, and easy, basically. So what I am going to basically just be doing basically at this moment is I am going to be showcasing all of hard, medium, and easy on guitar. So it will pretty much take a little long, basically. But in order to see it, you gotta watch it. So here are all of hard, medium, and easy that I've done for guitar. Turn this up a bit. See how I set up our difficulty? That's how it's supposed to be played for a hard instrument like that. Now you can basically see here is that this is definitely like nothing compared to expert, basically though. Like it's like I said, hard is just like expert, but it has like but it's like easier than expert and harder than medium. So I decided to make lots of gaps for that. Here's the solo like I showed you. I decided to extend the overdrive phrase a little bit because it was affecting Easy a bit, and I don't know why. That's hard. Now for hang on. Anyways, here's what the medium chart looks like. So you can see here, the chords and the notes are a little slower. So yeah, this is basically what 1/8 notes look like on the fast tempo. So yeah, and the chords have to be smaller as well. Now you basically see is that whenever you see like if you do see a chord basically like that is basically on hard though, then you might want to make that chord on medium be 2 frets long. Basically, though, since that is basically like the most recommended way how that chord is supposed to be set up for medium difficulty. So yeah, it's pretty easy to basically figure out once you basically do it. Alright, so that was medium, and now for easy. This has to be like 1/4 notes or 1/2 notes. Like gaps, that's what they have to be. So this is an example of how I set up easy on the fast tempo. Yeah, they are really short long notes, aren't they?
It's fun with you. I'm just in black and I'm feeling the shame. It's time for me to walk. Baby boy, it's time to wake up. It's already after 10 o'clock. Baby boy, put on your makeup. It's time to leave. It's time to get ready to rock. Baby boy, I can't remember. Did you wake up? It's such a shock. Baby boy, what night you got? It's time to leave. It's time to get ready to rock.
So there you go. That is how you fill in the reduced difficulties properly on guitar. So now basically filling in the lower difficulties for bass, it's pretty much the same thing, but basically though, just remove like some notes basically on the bass for hard in order to basically make smaller gaps basically though, like literally like it's just like reducing like difficulties on the bass is just the same as reducing difficulties on guitar, like for sure though. So it's just like before, just leave out like it's like just before though. Just leave out like leave one orange note on medium, leave one orange and one blue on easy. So for medium and easy though, we're gonna do this. So we're gonna do medium first of all. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Hang on, is that right? I think this one might be right. So, like, yeah, just do the same thing here. Copy these, Control C, and then go to the, and then just go back to the project that you're doing. Go into bass, and then go to the point where, oops, go to the point where the bass starts, which is here at measure 11, and then just paste it in, like that. So once you pasted it in, save that so then you don't lose it, and then make sure to basically check for anything. See if you see any like gaps that shouldn't be like this on hard, then yeah, just reduce it. Like it's basically easy to do. But yeah, so it's bass is the same as guitar, but except like I said, for medium and easy though, and hard though, they don't have notes that they don't have that much chords basically. So as long as you at least just understand that the same mechanics of charting bass and how you're supposed to like reduce guitar like last time though, then it should be the same thing for you to figure out for bass. So yeah, no need to no need to basically show it off again. So I showed it off a little bit. So you happy now? I hope so. Okay, anyway, see you in a bit once I get this done. Alright, so after some time later, the base is basically done filling in all the reduced difficulties. So feel free to basically look at the medium and easy notes on the media editor, and all you're going to see in this clip is just the hard notes I did. So the hard difficulty, this is how I set it up. Oh, oops! I actually like messed up right here. See, like that triplet that is basically going like backwards. Basically, though, it needs to be an OPO note, and I forgot to do that on the blue note. Okay, my bad. Anyways, let's keep going. Same thing again. But at least this time I didn't do the same thing for the further ones. Okay, maybe not. Don't know why I just forgot to do it for some reason.
I took the door and locked the boy. I went in this mess. It's time to leave. It's time to get ready to rock. The pretty boy, I can't be no more. Should have come. I such a shock. The pretty boy, I locked the door. It's time to leave. It's time to get ready to rock. I try to wait and I try to be good. I'm trying to be patient but I should. Can be the bad when it's what's coming in. I'm busting back and I'm feeling ashamed. It's time for me to rock. It's already after 10 o'clock. Pretty boy, put on your makeup. It's time to leave. It's time to get ready to rock. Pretty boy, I can't wait no more. Should have come. It's such a shock. Pretty boy, I'm not the dog. It's time to leave. It's time to get ready to rock.
So there, that is hard bass, and that's also like how you fill in the lower difficulties for bass. Now there's one instrument left to do it in, and it is to drums. And so now at this point, you really do want to absolutely like put the animations in, and then check to basically see that if there are any of them that are basically like oops, messed up. Okay, so Control C to undo. So select all those notes, including the animations. Copy that. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Then go back to the MIDI you're using, and then go to turn the brightness down a bit. and then go to where the drums start, which is go back a bit, right here. And then just once you get to that point, then paste it. So go all the way here, and then yeah. Now the one thing that you probably might want to do, basically is that you might want to like really reduce the kick notes that you saw basically on like medium, and then basically like make sure that all of the kick notes on like easy and medium are basically right. So you can basically see there are more kick notes on easy than there is on medium, and that's not right. So the way to move them is move these kick notes to that unknown row, and then move these other kick drum notes from medium to easy, and then like select that whole row just by right clicking the whole row. That's basically like what you do in order to select them, because then if you left click it won't do anything. So right click it to select that whole row and then, of those notes, and then just like move it up. So I will like basically like show you basically how to like show you a little bit on how to reduce drums on the lower difficulties, but also at the same time I will also like show you how to like how you're supposed to be like setting up the drum animation stuff. So you can basically see is that, like I said, this is where the drums start. So open up the Rock Band Network preview for that. And then go to hard. Now you can basically see is that this is probably too fast though. So the way to basically fix this is basically just by removing like some notes to make up at least like small enough gaps, basically just to really like make sure that it is going right. So that basically means that if you do that, it'll make it look like it's hard difficulty. And then something really quick that I'm going to basically show you. But first of all, if you do basically get like something like this, basically, you know, where if there are no notes basically on like measure 43 though, then you probably might want to go back and like you might want to like look in the animations basically though, and then look like right over all the track basically though, so then you'll be able to see like what's wrong with it. So I really am actually guessing that the right cymbal notes are basically just I think that the ones at the end might be like wrong kind of. And then the other ones, this one right here. So it's recommended to just like do those, so set those animations basically, so then it will absolutely be able to tell you, to basically like tell you like more easily. So then it will be basically like to tell like how the notes are basically are synced up basically to the chart, and to have the drummer figure out like which drum to basically hit. Well, it does more. So let's say like basically for this section, but first of all, I'm gonna like do this then just for now. Now, basically, so first of all, these notes are basically like tom notes, and the way that you're supposed to set up, like I said, the floor tom is basically the green notes. So if you move those up to be floor tom right hand, so after like your drummer basically hits the snare and the crash cymbal and the kick note basically at the same time. Now whenever it basically gets to these three, basically these green notes, though, it's sounding like it's toms. Like, listen. See, it's sounding like toms, and they're fast ones too. So the way to like basically fix that is it's mostly highly recommended to it's recommended to like set those notes to be alternating between the drummer's left hand and right hand. So then it'll make it look like that it's basically a proper way of playing fast tom notes. So I will show that really quick. And then after the left, so then the blue toms are tom 2. And then the yellow toms are basically tom 1. Right here. Do that, and then and now it should be now it absolutely should be a proper line basically on like how it's supposed to be set up. So this is what I mean right here. So as for any of the other ones, basically, like it's basically like up to you to really like figure out like which type of like drum notes that what type of drum notes that you would hear, whether if it's like if it's like the hi-hats, the hi-hat cymbals, the ride cymbals, or the crash cymbals. You set those, and if you and make sure to set the animations for the green, yellow, and red notes to if you hear those notes as toms. So remember, the yellow tom is tom 1, and then the blue toms are tom 2, and then the green toms are no, they are the floor tom. And then make sure to alternate between the right hand and left hand animations. So then it'll make your drummer basically like make it look like it's playing it right. So if you have basically looked, so if you have like watched the drummer in real life do drum patterns as like kind of like maybe like this one as an example, though, then you'll pretty much know what I'm talking about. But anyways, doing editing this out is gonna really take a while, so I'll see you then once I get this done. Alright, so after some time later, this is what hard drums look like now. And of course, I did set the drum animations as well, which I'll basically show you right down below while you're watching the hard drums on the Rocky Network preview. So take a look. Drums will start at 22.3. Remember that. Hold on.
It's time to get ready to rock.
forgot to turn it up. Okay, anyway, check it out. Pay attention to the note rows to see how expert drums are supposed to be charted on the animations. And check out how I did hard drums comparing to the expert chart. I'm just back and I feel the shame. It's time for me to rock. So there, that is how you chart the animations for the drums properly, and that is also how you basically do the drum lower difficulties as well. So you could basically see here is that I basically did do a lot of I did make some changes of it basically though, but yeah, I mean you get the point. And just in case that if you do ever forget on how you're supposed to like chart the lower difficulties for drums, then go to this drum authoring page and then click, and then once you're on this page, click hard, then medium, then easy to basically like find out how to basically to chart those, or you can basically just scroll down to them if you need info on that. All right. Anyways, like I said, that was drums, and now we are finally ready. We're finally ready to absolutely package this song completely into Magma, which we will do in the next part.